viewers, welcome back to Faith, Family, and Fun Reviews. If you're new here on this channel, I share with you delightful, family-friendly, and faith-based movies and television shows. Y'all, I am so excited to be spending this time with y'all. Y'all know I love hanging out with y'all. Like, yes, okay. It is such a blessing that you all take the time out to watch this video and hang out with me and talk all of these movies and television shows, which I know I can go on and on and on. So I thank you all for your patience in engaging with the channel, engaging with the video by liking, commenting, all that good stuff. It is totally appreciated. It does not go unnoticed, and I truly do value your time. I wanted to get that out of the way first for those of you who may not make it to the end of the video. But yes, how is it going? How is y'all weekend now that it is coming to a conclusion? It is wrapping up. We're about to get into this whole a new work week. So I want to know what's going on. Did you all enjoy time with the Lord this weekend? Did you make it to the movie theater? Did you watch anything at home? Did you stream any cool movies at home? All of that, yes. Let me know in the comments where y'all at with that, because y'all know I love to be in y'all movie business, right? But yes, as for me, truly excited to be back here, as I always say, hanging out with y'all. Like, yes, I'm here, okay? I ain't going nowhere. With the Lord's help, like with him encouraging me and keeping me like coming right back. So yeah, I'm here. But yes, I am excited to be talking about this new series that we have started a few weeks ago. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to review the entire season. I just wasn't, because not that it's not a good show, because so far it is good, y'all. I'd be like, ooh, what's going on? I'd be all like that. Yeah, so it is definitely given in all the areas that I do appreciate, but I still wasn't sure, because y'all know how it goes when you're doing reviews and recaps for television shows. You could be a little, I ain't gonna speak that on y'all. Let me speak for myself. Blood girl, speak for yourself. Okay, I could be a little bit long-winded. I get all into it, and next thing you know, the video like 30 minutes and all of that. And I know that that's a little bit long for some of you. So I was like, oh, do I really want to go through this? Because if it's not helping to either of you watch it, like, what is the point? But then I'm like, you know what? If it's just for one, I can do it for the one, right? And also, not to mention, I still love to be talking and chatting about this stuff, so I'm still gonna talk about it. I don't care. I'm still gonna talk about it. But yes, we are back in Chesapeake Shores, season 1, episode 2. That's what we're discussing today. We already did episode 1. We're still in season 1, of course. We got a long way to go. I believe this show is like 6 seasons long. So yes, as long as I'm not really seeing anything like I feel out of line or inappropriate, and you know, the whole space that we're in with this faith, family friendly thing, I'm gonna continue to talk about them, right? I am. But I gotta beef with y'all, okay? Because y'all should have told me. Y'all didn't even tell me last video, beloved, you know, you could have said it mannerably, okay? You could have said, beloved, you know, you was pronouncing the name of the show wrong, okay? It's not pronounced that way. And y'all just dealt with it. Let me just say the name all wrong. I was like, no, y'all didn't. Y'all did not do that to me. But I'm gonna try to make sure I get it right. It's Chesapeake Shores, not Chesapeake. Okay, Chesapeake Shores, right? So as y'all know, the last episode concluded with Mick, which is the dad, the patriarch of the family here, has called the entire family together. Like we saw pretty much throughout the whole episode of okay, forgive me, y'all. We saw throughout the whole episode of season 1, episode 1, that we were introduced to a few of the kids. The daughters, we have Abby, Bree, and Jess, but we did not see the sons. We know there were 2 sons, but we did not meet them as of yet. But however, when we got to the end of the episode, it concluded with everyone was back home. All 5 kids were back together. Even the mom, who is a bit almost like the black sheep of the family, unfortunately, which is kind of weird and strange to say for the mom to be that way. But yes, she even was brought back home. So Mick did that, which was very unlike his character as far as what we know and what he's been introduced as, which is very always about work. So like that's where his focus is. He raised his kids. He did a good job with providing and all that good stuff, but he missed a lot of moments in their lives. Like he did. And in his mind, he felt like he was doing the best that he could do with what he was working with. That, you know, if he thought it was a better route to take, he would have. So he had no idea that his children, especially the girls, were harboring so many different feelings that they had because their dad missed a lot of their moments growing up, even though he was home, even though he was on the scene, but he didn't actually catch everything, you know? So Mick, knowing this and having, you know, been a little bit like the girls telling him a little stuff, little things were like slipping out here and there throughout the first episode. So he is aware that he could have been a better father. And so he starts to take steps in that direction. By first, he felt like a family should be together. Since that was the issue with them growing up, he wanted to bring his family, all of them together, including the mom, regardless of what his feelings are towards her or what the kids feel about her. It was time to bring everybody home. So the end of episode 1 ended with everybody home. Everybody's excited, a little bit shocked. Okay, like, what is going on here? We're all here together. So that was pretty cool. So we open up in episode 2 with all the kids, the 3 girls and the sons, who we now know as Kevin and Connor, all like outside. They're having a good time, like really fellowshipping as siblings, as brother and sisters, catching up a little bit. A lot of laughter here. Nothing too like serious. Like nobody's really bringing up anything that they were harboring or any resentments or any of that stuff. They're just happy to see each other and they're having a good time being back home here on the shore, right? And so I can say as I'm looking at all of them and I'm loving it, I'm loving seeing siblings as adults hanging out and really enjoying each other's company. But out of the 2 brothers, automatically I felt a little bit drawn more to Kevin, because he seems to me, I'm not sure as of yet, but it seems to me that he is the older brother, that he's older than Connor. Connor seems a little bit, as he should, I guess, because he's still like, I guess, on the verge of graduating. Like he's in law school, so he's still in law school and, you know, getting closer and closer to taking that bar. So he has a little bit of that playfulness, a little bit of that immaturity, a little bit of that where you just can't take him too serious. He seems like he doesn't take life as serious as the other siblings, and for good reason. But we do see a little bit in this episode that there's a reason behind that. It's not that he's just this like, okay, this fluke, like you're just hanging out all the time and you're not taking life seriously because that's just a part of who you are. But it seems like it's more to cover up something, and that is how he tends to deal with major issues, by saying, you know what, I'm not going to take this too seriously. I'd rather joke, I'd rather play, I'd rather do all of these kind of things, as if he was this 5-year-old little boy, to cover up the true feelings that he may be feeling, because he probably can't cope, doesn't necessarily know how to deal with those kind of things. That is what I'm getting, y'all. And forgive me, y'all see me all analyzing and all this kind of stuff. Y'all, this is fun, okay? This is part of my enjoyment. Like, serious, I love like digging deep into these characters, peeling back those layers, seeing what is going on, and bringing all of that to the surface for our enjoyment, right? So that's what I get from Connor. Kevin, on the other hand, is a little bit different. He seems a little bit guarded more than the other siblings. And I'm not sure if that's just because we're only in episode 2, and so it's only so much you can bring to the surface, especially when you have already so much they have revealed in episode 1, and we already know all of this baggage that Abby is carrying, Jess is carrying, Bree is carrying. Then you throw the mom in the midst, and we already got Mick, the patriarch, the dad here, and then we got Grams, okay, who's more like the foundation of the family. More, she is where we're gonna get that faith base a little bit more, which kind of draws me in and pulls me in a little bit more, and having me be a little bit more patient with this show thus far, because I know it's more family friendly than it is faith based. But because we got that one character, Grams, in there, who seems to have a relationship with the Lord, and she tried to instill that in her children, well, in her son as well as her grandchildren, but for whatever reason they don't seem as strong as she is in that area. They don't seem to be like broached the subject. They don't move in that direction. All of them, it's like no one. The only one that seems like she is more geared towards that as far as what we see as of right now is Grams. And so I do appreciate that aspect of the show. So like I said, she keeps me hanging on. She keeps me hoping, right? But yeah, like I said, Kevin seems a little bit more guarded. He is in the military. That could play a part. He's already dealing with a lot of things that the average civilian does not understand, that we can't, as much as we may try to imagine what it's like to be over there, to be fighting for your country, we don't really fully can comprehend that because we're not there. We don't have that responsibility. We don't necessarily know what it is like, even though as much as we may try to understand where he's coming from, we don't. And so I believe that's one of the reasons that Kevin is a little bit guarded, in a way that he is a protector. He's a protector of his country, so he tends to bring that into his life. Like he is the protector of his siblings, all his sisters and his brother, and even his parents, especially his mom in particular, which we're going to get into that probably a little bit more with the next video, episode 3, right? Because I think it does dive a little bit into that more. And so and I'm saying this because yes, I have watched the entire season, but as I'm doing the videos, I'm going back watching it again to refresh my memory. And so it'll feel like, all right, you all are right there with me. We here. I don't want to miss nothing, right? So yes, like I said, yes, Kevin is a protector, and right away I was drawn to him as far as any of the other siblings. I felt like the other siblings, because everybody's adults, right? Everybody's over the age of 18, well over the age of 18. They're grown. And so to an extent, yes, we all have different things that we carry from our childhood. Unfortunately, whether it could be good or not so good, we all have those kind of things. But it's like once you get past a certain age, it's almost like it's your responsibility now. You can choose, you can make that choice if you're going to harbor certain feelings, you're going to hold on to the past, or whatever you're going to do. It is your choice at that point. You have free will. And so it's a little bit difficult for us as the viewers to feel that, well, I'm not going to say me, because you got viewers who still feel it. That's what connects us to these characters, because they have so much baggage that they're carrying from their childhood, from the past. A lot of adults now are doing the same thing and behaving the same way. So I know that's what connects us as the viewers to these characters. But at the same time, because yes, I am a viewer, but I'm also a reviewer. So I'm going to come from that aspect with that connection, what draws us to these characters. But at the same time, I'm standing on the outside of this family dynamic, and I am like, okay, what can we learn from this? It is time to grow up. It is, I'm throwing in all of that kind of stuff too, because these are the hard things. These are the hard challenges that we just don't want to face. And that is why on this, because I'm... forgive me. But that is why one of the topics that is connecting for me for this episode is fear, and how do you overcome that fear? Because that is what I saw pretty much throughout this entire episode with these characters, running from things, just running from them for whatever reason. And we do that, and I'm speaking in general, as human beings, that is one of the hard things that mankind has to deal with. And people tend to run from them instead of facing them for whatever reason. I believe a little bit of rejection is tied into that. Like, for example, I look at Jess, because Jess is the youngest out of all of the sisters. So she has the least amount of memories with her mom when her mom actually left the family. And we don't really know all the backstory to that, why that happened, what truly went down. All we know is these girls, especially Jess is harboring so much resentment towards her mom in this episode. And her mom is here back in town, but Jess is also like getting ready to open up her B&B. So her mom decides to stay on Jess's property, and Jess, that is making her so uncomfortable, because like every time she turns around, what she was running from is right there in her face, and she just can't get away from it. And she's doing her best to avoid her mom at all costs, as well as her dad in a sense, just a tiny degree, because I believe just seeing them together, like literally before her, those memories are coming back to her from her past, and she's thinking almost like she turns into this 5-year-old girl when she sees them literally together. If it's far off or, you know, literally right in front of her, what comes to her mind is that 5-year-old girl, that 5, 6, 7-year-old girl who wants to see her parents still married together in a household, and what life could have been like. That is what she is reminded of, and it hurts her to her soul, y'all. It really do, because there's nothing she can do about this. She knows that that moment has passed. It is gone. Even if by chance her parents did decide to get back together, it doesn't change anything. She can't curl up in her bed and be the little 5-year-old and runs to her mom's arms and have her mom read her a storybook right before bed. She can't turn into that. She can't get that back regardless of what decisions that her parents make going forward at this point in her life. So she's harboring that, and that is hurting her to, like I said, to her very soul. And then she has the memories of those very few too far in between mom being there, and all of a sudden her mom is not there for her anymore. And so having her mom there, and her mom here showing up on the scene, is uncomfortable for her as well, like I have to say, because she knows that those feelings are there from all of her children, mainly the girls, not so much the boys, because they're older, and I guess they have far more memories with her. And so it's just different, that dynamic, that relationship between mother and son as opposed to mother and daughter. And so the girls are a little bit, besides Abby, I feel like Abby is the older daughter, and Abby is not really tripping over that. She has her own daughters to deal with, and her mom is very a part of her girl's life. So she's just not really, you know, feeling any kind of resentment towards her mom. She gotten past that, so she's moved on. But like I said, Jess and Bree as well, but mostly Jess, is because she's the youngest of them all, of the girls. Like, she's really in that place and really don't want to hear nothing her mom has to say, would rather not even see her mom, and going as far as opening the B&B early. And it's not even ready, because she's trying to avoid her mom. She's trying to focus on something else just to make the pain go away, because she just doesn't know how to handle it. She doesn't know what to do. She knows pretty much anything that comes out of her mouth is probably going to hurt her mother. And so that's not a path that she wants to go down at this point, and probably never really wants to at all, if she has any control over it, right? So that is pretty much what is going down. The family here, like I said, everyone is back in town. Everyone is back together here on the property, the home that the kids grew up in. And they all are distracted in their own little way with different things. Like I said, Connor is like at a loss. He was talking to Grams in the kitchen, talking about he is, in a sense, confused. He's gone to law school, is getting close to the time to take the bar, and he's not even sure what kind of lawyer he wants to be. He's not sure what he wants to do with all of this. And Grams is like making it simple. Basically, this was the path that you chose. Go through with it, because you're literally right there. And then at that point, make a decision exactly what kind of lawyer you want to be. But for right now, let's just focus on right now. You don't have to make that decision what part of law you're going to practice. You just need to pass the bar for now. So let's just focus on that. And I love how Grams tend to put things in a little bit of perspective, because we as human beings, we can run off, like go on some long off trip that didn't even matter. Like, you can allow your fears a lot of times to paint these scenarios that may not even play out, and you just took yourself through a whole bunch of anxiety, a whole bunch of just discomfort, because you are playing out the worst scenario in your mind, to the point in your mind don't know the difference. you know that you're not necessarily in that situation, but your mind and your body doesn't, which makes sense why, you know, you're sweating and why you're going through the motions as if you are already in the worst case scenario, because your mind went there, like the Bible talks about, as a man thinketh, so is he. And we literally have to be careful what we think, because we can totally convince our bodies to react as if a certain thing has played out and we're nowhere near that thing. So this episode really, like I said, to me, harped on different fears and facing those fears. Here we have the fear of rejection playing out, which I believe that is what Jess is going through in her own way. Yes, she is upset with her mother and avoiding her mother at all costs, but I think the whole underlining thing of that is the fear of rejection. She felt rejected, abandoned, neglected when her mom left the family when she was a little girl. And here, to face her mom again and to take that chance of letting her mother in, what would that be like if her mother did the same thing again? Her mother just disappeared on her at this stage in her life. She went through it before, in a sense, lost her mom before. Do she want to lose her mom again, as a young adult right now? How would that make her feel to go through those emotions again? And so I believe that is what Jess is dealing with, that fear of rejection. Abby, on the other hand, is dealing with, to me, that fear of success in a sense. Because she is running, she hears you have this successful woman in the corporate world, and now she comes back home to this small little town. And it's not so much because this is part of her character or what she's used to. You come back home maybe for the summers and you go back to work. No, she's running from she is running from her pain. She's running from, y'all forgive me, I'm just trying to put my words into perspective. But she is running from basically, in a sense, the fear of success, because she's already successful in the corporate world, which I think comes more natural to her, is easy. But with that, she's running. Yes, she's running from the fear of failure, y'all. That's what she's dealing with, the fear of failure, because she's successful in all other areas that a person can imagine that most people tend to not be as successful at. But in the areas of family, that is where she's kind of not sure, and she's scared out of her mind. And she doesn't, and this is not Abby's character. Abby does not like to show that vulnerable side of her, because she's a powerhouse in the corporate world, and she's used to owning the room and not letting people in and being that demanding, that person that just rises to the top. That is what she does. She's always up on her game. But when it comes to her children, her family, here, that is where the vulnerability tends to seep out, and it scares her, because that's not the side of her that she wants people to see. That's not the side that she's even willing to look at herself in the mirror at this point in her life. She have heard a rumor from her girls that their dad may be wanting full custody, and this scares Abby, because all she has left is her girls, and she loves them. That is her heart, as you would expect of any mom. And so you feel, and she's reaching out to her ex-husband and trying to get him to say whatever it is, because he's in a new relationship, as we know. And she's trying to see, okay, is it a little bit more serious than he's letting on? Are they on the verge of getting married? And he's trying to get custody of her heart here and kind of push her aside. She's already has nothing as far as in her mind, and all she has left is the girls. So it's what are you saying, Wes? For the longest, y'all been doing very good co-parenting, and now all of a sudden secrets. Now all of a sudden you're holding back. What is the deal, and why aren't you saying anything? The girls should just make this up in their mind, okay? They overheard you all talking, okay? So what is going on, and why do we have to take this to court? We have always been very good about settling things with each other, which works out good for them, but also for the girls. The girls don't even need that. They don't need to be having to go through courts and rooms and all of these kind of things. We are good with settling the stuff outside of that. So what is the problem? Why aren't you willing to do that now? And Wes seems very secretive. He seems like he's holding back for whatever reason. He's not saying anything, and it is terrifying, Abby, because they never had this issue prior to this point. And that's why she ran back home, because I know home is almost like that that safety net for you. It is that place you can unwind, you can be comfortable, and you feel like nothing can touch you here. I'm home, home sweet home, right? And that's what she's running from. And she was avoiding Wes calls for the longest because she's so afraid that he's gonna say what she does not want to hear, and that is that he is seeking full custody. So she is dealing with that, and that is pretty much how this episode ended, y'all. Abby does get the papers from Wes, and he still never really opened up, but he just hands her these papers, and she reads that he is seeking full custody, and she collapsed literally right there. And you could just see, like, oh, this is my second time watching this, and I cried the first time, and then the second time here I cried as well, because I'm just like, you can feel that pain of losing all that you have in this very moment. That is her lifeline, her daughters, her girls. That's all she has. Means more to her than anything in the world. And so I cried again. Again, y'all, because that was just crazy. But I think I pretty much covered every family member at this point. I will say a little bit more about Grams. I feel like Grams is, like I said, she is the one going to prayer and doing her best to keep the family together. She is, like I said, that safety net for all of them, a little bit of that rock and that foundation. And I feel like she's dealing with a little of that because she's feeling everybody's pain. She's a empath, definitely, Grams here, and she wants to make everything right with everybody. She loves them all dearly, so she's dealing with all of that. Like I said, Mick, the patriarch of the family, he is trying to almost make up for the past. He's trying to set out on this new journey. Okay, I don't want to be the old me. The old me was too busy for the family. So in this episode, he did admit that he's taking time off because he wants to be a part of everybody's moments here. He see that his kids are on another stage of their lives. Yeah, they're adults, but they're still his babies, and he don't want to miss no moments of their lives now, like with Bree opening up her new B&B. And then we have Abby here at home and with her daughters, and those are his grandkids. So he wants to be a part of that, make their world a little bit better than he obviously did with his own kids. So he has that, and then his sons, you know, he wants to be that dad that gets out there on the court and plays with Connor, because so many moments they probably missed when he was a little boy. So you got that going on, and there is this big family photo that is taken that Mick is like, we have to take, because yes, they have so many different photos from the past, but he wants something that shows, okay, we are embarking on a new journey here. We are really going to be a family. We're not going to miss any moments now going forward, and we're going to deal with whatever that needs to be dealt with. No more running away. No more allowing fear to take hold of this family. And so that is pretty much how episode 2 ended. A lot of good stuff here. Like I said, a lot of things that make you want to face whatever it is that maybe not from God. And when I'm saying maybe, because I don't know everybody's different situations, but I do want to say we know that fear is not from him. He has not given us a spirit of fear. So if God has not given you this, why are we letting that have a place here? Why are we letting that take roots in our hearts, in our minds, in our souls? It is time. Anything that is not of God, we need to face that thing head on. We need to do whatever we have to do to evict it out, to cast it down, whatever little word that you want to say to replace that thing that should not be in existence, right? And so that's what we are gonna leave out of here on, and we're gonna get into the scripture we're coming out of. Let's see. Okay, Proverbs. I remember it was Proverbs, y'all. I do remember that. Okay, so Proverbs chapter 15, verse 16, and it reads, "Better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure with trouble." So that's all I have for y'all for this video. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. Y'all please let me know in the comments how y'all liking this recap review thus far. Is this something that y'all want to see more happening, continuing on this journey? Have you watched this show before? Are you planning on watching it? All of that good stuff, drop it in the comments, okay? So until next time, may the Lord bless and keep you both now and forevermore.